The shift is happening. The shift in consciousness, in frequency is happening now. This is the great awakening. This is the age of transformation. And if you're watching this video, you came here to experience this and to shift into a heaven on earth. There are going to be magical things from here forth. And because of this process, manifestation, the ability to manifest things on purpose, is actually going to be easier and faster than ever before. Things are about to get really good. Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Juliet Cleary. I'm a manifestation coach. And if you resonate with this message, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap that bell icon. If you would like to work together, that information's in the description box below for you, as well as the link to my meditation channel. And I've created a guided meditation completely free for you on my meditation channel. The link is in the description box below for you to, during this time, release anything that's not you and align to your highest timeline, align to that 5D, the fifth dimensional consciousness. As you know, because I've mentioned it before, a shift is happening, right? Timeline jumps are happening. Collectively, a lot of us are jumping timelines. We're shifting in bigger ways than before, bigger jumps. And there is this splitting of realities, or Bashar calls it the splitting prism. And Dolores Cannon also mentioned this exact same thing as like a new earth and an old earth. And there's a splitting, right? So the new energies and the old energies. We are raising our frequency collectively higher than ever before. This is something that has never occurred in, all of existence. This is like, apparently the place to be. And you came here to be here at this time, to experience this and most likely be a way shower for others, right? To really, even if you're not teaching this stuff, to raise your frequency, to focus on your joy and focus on love and compassion and all of these elevated emotions, these elevated frequencies, to kind of carry everyone up in a sense, even though there will, like this free will, so there will be people who don't match these higher frequencies, and that's perfectly okay. But this month of September, I'd heard it quite a few times as well. Like September was going to be a big month. There were going to be some big timeline jumps, some big shifts in energy. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't really pay attention to specific dates or months or anything. But when I start experiencing it, then I'm like, oh, okay, this is happening, because I know this feeling. Right now, like I have been feeling so tired and almost kind of like in a dream state. And I experienced this months ago. So when my frequency was raising, I was raising my consciousness. And so I know the feeling. And it comes with physical symptoms as well. I've had quite a few. So if you are feeling really physically exhausted, tired, drained, like can't move, don't want to do anything, you might have a lot of like body symptoms like aches and pains, headaches, sinus pain, stomach upset, back pain, extra thirst. You may have excess hunger. I know that I have been more hungry than usual. You may be drawn to some foods or not really wanting to eat some foods anymore. You may have a lot of emotions coming up to the surface. As I've mentioned before, this is like a purging process. So you can have like old patterns or beliefs or emotions just coming up. Sometimes it can be a lot or very overwhelming. You may be having more vivid dreams, trouble sleeping, some cold and flu symptoms, and you can also be even more like super inspired, happy, excited, more passionate. So a range of different things. If you're feeling any of this or even any other symptoms that I haven't mentioned, it's okay. You're completely okay. It's normal, because especially if you have been like, maybe this doesn't apply as much to people who have been just constantly, negative and not really involved in self-improvement or focused on their happiness. And so the things you're experiencing are just because of the person you're being, right? The frequency that you're in or operating from. But if you have been doing this kind of work and you've been focused on your happiness and you've been following your passion, you've been raising your consciousness, raising your frequency, or you've been working on yourself, like you're noticing your beliefs and letting them go. Like, so you've been doing this kind of process, and then you notice these kinds of symptoms or these kinds of things coming up. Know that it's a positive thing. Know that it's actually a purging, a releasing. And because the body is such dense energy, and we hold a lot of dense energy because of the beliefs that we hold and the patterns, in order to keep raising up higher and higher into a higher frequency, our body has to change. And this is like what Dolores Cannon always talked about. It can be really tough on the body. So it does happen gradually, but this year things have sped up. Things have been speeding up energy-wise since 2020. It's been an acceleration of a raising of consciousness, a raising of frequency. But especially this year, it has really taken up a notch. I had not even felt it really or noticed it or was aware of it previous to this year. And it's the same thing with, like, if you look around at the world, which there's not just one world, as you know, there are infinite parallel versions of Earth, infinite parallel realities, and we're all living in our own version of Earth, right? So some things that you can see outside of you are not actually happening in your reality, even though you can still see them. This is a time of choosing who you are, what frequency you're on, what you prefer to live and what you prefer not to live. But if you're looking outside and you're seeing all these negative things happening, that is also the same process of a purging, but collectively. It is a reflection. Our reality, our outer reality is a reflection. So it's still all this stuff coming up to the surface to be purged, to be seen, to be released, to be noticed. The kind of like the unconscious of the planet, the realities we've been living is coming up to the surface, and sometimes it looks like a negative or bad thing, but it isn't. And you have a choice whether you focus on it, you fear it, you buy into it, you associate with it, or which you match the frequency of it, or you do what you came here to do, which is to be that higher frequency, to help others to look to you as a positive example so that you can help everyone kind of raise up. Like I said, it's like being a way shower. So you focused in your heart, you focused on compassion, forgiveness, love, your happiness, focused on your happiness, and acting on that is always going to raise your frequency higher and higher, release anything that isn't you, and also help others, help the collective at the same time. When you're experiencing these kinds of body symptoms or emotional symptoms, or just like, you know, the beliefs or all the doubts or all the stuff that's coming up right now, or maybe you're going to go through it soon, or maybe you have gone through it, I want you to see it in this way. When that stuff comes up, do not look at it like something has gone wrong, like this is a bad thing. This emotion or this belief or whatever it is, it's not that it's a bad thing that it's coming up. It has to come up. It's being released. It's just purging. How do you release an emotion? By pushing it down, by just, you know, pretending it doesn't exist and pushing it down and distracting yourself. How do you actually release an emotion? You feel it. You just allow it, right? You just allow yourself to feel it and be released. Same thing, like think about it like when you have a virus and you're sick, you are maybe vomiting, your nose is running, you're coughing, you're sneezing. You could look at those individual symptoms and say, wow, this is really bad, something's wrong. But when you know the science of how the body works, that's the body purging the virus. It's purging what isn't serving you, right? It has to come out. Same with like every time you have an emotion, you feel an emotion, it creates a chemical in your body. Same thing with your beliefs, right? Your beliefs all have like a chemical match to it. So when you're focused on that belief, there's a chemical associated with that in your actual body. Now, when you actually let go of a belief, when you release a belief, how you actually do that, you actually have to release it physically as well. And how that is done is through the liquids in your body. So most of the time it's through tears, right? When you're crying, you're literally releasing the chemical constituents of those beliefs, of those patterns, those emotions of the past or whatever. You're literally purging it. When you let go of, like when you have shed a belief and you cry, or you're feeling such gratitude, for example, in a meditation, and you start to tear up, you're releasing the old chemicals that were associated with your old self, the old energies. You might also like pee a lot, like after a meditation or something like that. Also sweating, it comes out a lot through your sweat. So that's what you have to realize, is whatever you're carrying or you've been carrying with you must be released. And so whatever you're going through right now, just let it be okay. Don't judge it, don't invalidate it, don't label it as negative or wrong or bad. Just let it be and let it go. Let it purge, like when you're sick and you just got to get it out. Your like soul is purging in a way, but really as well, your body is actually purging, and it's calibrating to the new frequencies. So like I said, these new higher frequencies that we're experiencing, you know, initially can maybe even look like something negative in your life, like things breaking down, because the old reality has to kind of break down, because the old you, the old identity is breaking down. Or you're really also seeing the shadows in the corners that before you couldn't see, but now you're at a higher frequency, you have a higher level of awareness, and you can see everything that's not a match to who you now are and where you're now shifting to, or where you now have shifted. And so you're seeing it so you can let it go. It's literally you growing out of it. It's growing out of your old clothes that you used to wear, and where you're experiencing are growing pains. So like I said, manifestation is going to get easier. It's going to get easier and faster. And in fact, it's easier and faster to manifest something on purpose now than ever before. It's easier, it's quicker, because the energies are accelerating. So it's like when you used to hear Abraham Hicks say, 17 seconds law of attraction will kick in on whatever thought or emotion. It's probably more like 10 seconds now. And so many people say, you know, we're shifting into the fifth dimension. And the fifth dimension, 5D, is not a place, it's a state of consciousness. So it's what some people would call, or have called in the past, Christ consciousness, which just means a higher frequency. That's it. It's not a religious thing at all. Also, like you may have heard, like there was going to be a second coming of the Christ, like a second return of Christ. This is what it meant. It's a Christ consciousness. It's a consciousness of the I am, of you knowing yourself as God, you knowing yourself as source, as all that is, coming into your power, that realization. So that great awakening and that shift into the fifth dimension, which is a consciousness of love. That's what it is. It is a high frequency, a high consciousness of love and joy. And what comes along with that is a shifting of timelines, and also a splitting of realities. So some of us will move into more beautiful, like heaven on earth versions of our world and continue to accelerate in that direction. And others will take a different path based on like if they're in fear or lack or separation, right? And they're just kind of stuck there. That's okay. But they will take another version of earth. But from what I believe, it's not like there's two versions of Earth that are splitting. It's multiple parallel realities, multiple different versions of Earth, but eventually there will be a splitting off where someone of a vastly, vastly different frequency to you will no longer be in your experience, no longer have, contact with you. September 23rd was mentioned so many times. and so many different predictions about September 23rd. There's like all these things about like, you know, really negative things happening, and then other people saying really positive things are happening. And this is why it's so important to remember what I just said. Everyone's living in a different reality. You get to choose based on your vibration, like based on the frequency that you're operating at more of the time, most of the time, that's what you're going to get. So for a lot of you who, you know, are kind of on this beautiful wavelength of just upgrading and up-leveling and moving into that higher consciousness, you will be experiencing more of a heaven on earth, more ease and love and joy, more blessings, more incredible things, more of yourself being shown or revealed to you, tapping into parts of you that maybe you never have. Basically, really, really good things. And I don't think it's a coincidence, because I know Dr. Joe Dispenza has a walk, like a global walking meditation that's taking place on September 23rd. So I was like, that's just, I mean, nothing's coincidence. And I know something like that, an event like that, can completely, like, we're all kind of doing something like that around the same time, like around the same day. I know for Australia it's going to be a different time day, but you know, the same kind of time. We're going to timeline jump, like we're going to do a big jump. So like, I would just focus on loving yourself more, focus on your happiness, on raising your frequency, letting whatever come up and be seen and released and purged and felt. If there's things that you need to feel that are coming up, to release them. But then like, things are going to get really good. Things are already really good. But as this is an acceleration process, it's going to get faster and faster. You may have even felt this year that time's going faster than usual, right? Because you're picking up on what's really happening is there is no time, but the energies are higher and faster, moving faster, more powerful than ever before, right? For this human reality experience that we're having. This is something, like I said, that's never happened before. And you're here to be a part of it. And you promise to yourself a heaven on earth. You came here at this time to remember who you are as God, to remember why you're here, to play, to love, right? To really play, to know it's easy. It's just a belief. Maybe if you're thinking things are hard, it's just a belief that things are hard. It's actually easy. To remember who you are, to remember how things really are, and to play. And to, therefore, as you're playing and you're loving and you're, you know, living in your heart and following your happiness, you are a way shower. You're being a way shower. You actually came here to uplift everything and everyone to a new consciousness. If you're watching this video, you attracted this to remind yourself of that. So I do believe that in this month, there's going to be a massive timeline shift, like a massive collective jump. Okay, so yeah, I would say focus on what I mentioned before, but also your highest timeline of who you really want to be and what you, like what direction you want to go in, because you're going to shift there. You're going to be experiencing changes. But it's not just about this month. It's not just about the 23rd. It is from here forward. It is going to be like this for a while. As I said, it's an acceleration process, if you want to call it ascension, but it is just a raising of frequency, consciousness. So I do want to mention that if you're looking at things outside of you, you know, in the world that are happening, and you feel really triggered, you feel like a strong emotional response to it, that is something, it's triggering a belief within your own consciousness. And whatever you're seeing is actually a reflection of you. And if it's triggering you, that it is, that you're associating with that in some way, you hold a belief, or there's something that's not in alignment, that needs to be released or purged, let go of, so you can continue to raise your frequency and let go of the denser energies that no longer are relevant. They're the old way. So you may start noticing from here forward, things start to change. Like you'll start to notice that things are shifting. You may even wake up some mornings and feel like you're in a different world, or you just forgot who you were for a second, or things like around you that you see all the time, every day, look slightly different, or a slightly different color, or people start acting differently toward you. But it is also so important to know that this is not just like something that's like pushed upon you, and it's just like, you know, because again, there are people in really low dense energies where these higher frequencies are being given to them, it's available to them, but they must consciously choose it because we have free will, right? And so if you just focused on being your best self, like being your, like, just be happy and focus in your heart, like I said, you can't get it wrong. Relax more, play more. I got that message in my meditation today, is to play more. I said, please play, please play, please play. So I'm giving that message to you as well. Please play more. You may start to notice that you have different habits, different opinions on things. Maybe things don't trigger you like they did before. Maybe you feel more inclined to start really being the person that you've always wanted to be. Maybe you start to realize that there are things that you felt stuck with that just no longer make sense and you drop them. But again, like I said, you must consciously choose this. You must still do this as a conscious process because you're the creator. So let go of fear and move into love, forgiveness, compassion. No longer informing yourself from your past, inform yourself from your future. All exists here simultaneously, but really be the new person. Stop holding on. Right? Stop holding on to what isn't you, that needs to go. You may experience more joy, more passion, more like positive habits, or more old habits fall away, or you're not resonating with the same things or people anymore, not resonating with the same foods anymore. I know that I cut out red meat. I cut out red meats and some other things, and that's something I never thought I would do, but it just kind of happened. And whatever falls away from your life, let it fall away. So like I said, this month is a really, really big month. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have been experiencing any of this, because I know I definitely have. So I'm like, ooh, something's up, because I haven't felt this way in like, I don't know, a couple of months. So I know good stuff's coming, and I know good stuff is here. We're shifting into more magical timelines. As I said, I do have a guided meditation to help you really calibrate these new energies and raise your frequency super, super high so you can attract your best timeline. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've experienced this or you are experiencing it, and any of your thoughts or questions in the comment section below. Thank you for tuning in. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe. And if you would like to work together, that information's in the description box below for you. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.